Hello and welcome to this Farm Journal Live. I'm Clinton Griffiths, editor of Farm Journal, coming to you from the Farm Journal newsroom here in northern Indiana as we continue to track the latest developments in the coronavirus outbreak and how it's impacting the agricultural industry. Let's get straight to some news. Amid the economic downturn and the battle against the coronavirus, China once again outbuying U.S. agriculture. Private exporters reporting a flash sale of corn to USDA, a total of 567,000 metric tons of corn. Of the total, about 60,000 metric tons is for old crop corn. The rest is new, and it seems to be a trend, but the markets, they're not moved yet on Friday, currently trading in the red. We're going to bring in Mike Flores of Flores Trading. And Mike, one of the things we've been trying to sort out in this corn market is there's quite a bit of fundamental news. But how do we read the charts right now to try to get our arms around what's going on here?
Find ourselves right now that I trade a lot of Gann cycle types of things, and the theory is that today's markets highs or lows are based upon previous times highs and lows, and we have 3 cycles that are coming in for this week, so what I think, I'm making a speculative call here, that today's low should mark some kind of a major swing low on corn. Oh, so we should go up for a few weeks anyway, and I would expect anywhere from a 17 to 25 cent rally from whatever low we make here on Friday.
So you're saying, as far as looking at the charts and the technical, we'll go ahead and bring this chart up and kind of watching some of the technical issues here, you think that we could be kind of coming into something that may look like a cycle low?
Yes. Yes, and so for a speculative play, I think you could buy the market by the end of the day, and then for Monday put a nickel stop in it below the low. I think this week's low should hold. Over the past, just like since March 30th, the funds have added somewhere around 60,000 new shorts into the market, and which is kind of common at bottoms. They really pile on. And that's not even counting today what they've done. So they're very heavily short. Crude has rallied $10 from the low. So yeah, I think there's some reasons why the market can go up from here. And so, like I said, this should mark some kind of a pretty important low.
Fundamentally, we talk about some export sales. We look at crude oil getting a little bit of strength back as there's conversation around maybe that trade war or that price war between Russia and Saudi Arabia coming to an end. But technical-wise, this is you feel like a pretty clear signal out there.
Right. For speculators, you can buy this and not have to risk a lot of money to find out if you're right. That's really kind of key when you're a trader. So if you can buy something and have a $300 risk per contract, you can sleep at night with that. And I think this opportunity is presenting itself right now.
Mike, as you kind of work your way through this market and try to figure out, exactly and compare it to times in the past, I'm sure this has to be kind of a hard one to take a look at and figure out, well, what could we go off of?
Yeah, I know it's kind of a perfect storm when crude broke the way it did and nobody's driving. I mean, I'm in Indiana right now. From here to Chicago, there's no cars on the road. So it's just a process we have to go through, but the markets are discounting mechanisms. It's really had a very large break. So what's known is known, and we should probably, like I said, I think we should have some kind of a pretty good bounce from these time frames.
Yeah. Mark, as we look at any of the other commodities out there, are there any others that you are keeping an eye on and watching, maybe seeing any kind of indicators for?
Well, the livestock is kind of untradeable. It's all limit moves. Wheat is building a story from kind of reduced exports around the world to maybe a smaller crop here in the U.S. So wheat is more of an interesting story on the upside that can maybe last. And I'm really kind of getting interested in gold as well on the upside. We can't just create all this money without some kind of reaction in the future. So gold is, I think, something to keep an eye on for a higher price.
All right. Well, we appreciate your insights as always, Mike. Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to keep track of what's going on around the world and how this coronavirus is impacting our lives. Some other news out there today, the coronavirus impact continuing to grow. The CEO of Sanderson Farms reporting 15 employees have tested positive for COVID-19. Another 36 are waiting test results. The poultry company also reporting it's cutting back its chicken production at its plant in Moultrie, Georgia, telling 415 employees to stay home with pay. The plant has a capacity of 1.3 million head a week. Officials say they'll cut that number back down to 1 million head. And then one of the other stories that we've been kind of keeping an eye, a look at is how are we going to help some of these industries? One of those, the biofuels industry, now asking for a bailout. The Renewable Fuels Association and other related groups sending a letter to Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue, and the group's asking for funding from the agency's Commodity Credit Corporation. The letter saying that collapsing demand for fuel during the coronavirus outbreak has idled 3.5 billion gallons of ethanol at 25% of the nation's plants. So something that we'll continue to watch. Of course, if you'd like to keep up with our coverage as we continue to follow the coronavirus outbreak and how it's impacting agriculture, please go to agweb.com/coronavirus. That's where we'll be reporting and putting our collection of reporting. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. We'll see everyone next week.